from United, and Hughes will hit this, and what a goal from Liam Hughes, 30 yards, round the wall, bottom corner, 1-0 to the
to Donaldson. That should be Bartlett. And Hughes came in behind him. And Liam Hughes.
So here we go. I'm joined here by ex-Cambridge United player Liam Hughes. How are you doing, Hughesy?
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to have a chat with you, mate.
Yeah, no, it's been good. We've had a little chat off air and caught up. Hopefully, we'll hear a few of these stories as we sort of progress and go onwards. But obviously, the first thing I sort of stepped back off the screen once I saw your hair. I didn't know what to make of that. I know we're all having these sort of isolation haircuts, and you've gone the full hog and dyed it pink.
You know what? With me, like somebody like me with a face like mine, I can pull this stuff off. Like I've always been one to be a bit out there with my clobber, with my hair, everything like that. So I just thought, why not? And you know what? It works. You know, I'm wearing pink, got the pink hair repping. I can pull it off. I don't think many people will agree with me, but I like it. So what can you do?
That's all that matters, mate. That's all that matters. No, it's fantastic. See you. You're looking well, mate. And yeah, thanks for agreeing to come on and have a chat with us. And we'll put this out there, and hopefully, quite a few Cambridge fans will see that. We'll stick it on the various sites and that.
No, it's good. It's good to connect, like, and talk. You know, and like even if it's just something like this, you know, it's always nice to even like I listened to the one you did with Rogues. That was class. And it's nice to like have new things because, you know, life can get, like I said to you earlier, can get repetitive and monotonous. You can get stuck in like inside, especially if the weather's rubbish. It just gives somebody or people an option to just have a laugh. If they want to giggle, get tuned in because, you know, that's what these things are all about. And hopefully the stories will provide some entertainment for people.
That's what it's all about, Hughesy. Love it, mate. And like I say, it's a bit of a casual chat / interview. And a lot of interviews when you speak to someone sporting or ex-sporting player, they're quite formal and yeah, it just gets a bit mundane. But we'll hear a couple of stories, I'm sure, from your Cambridge days, especially your youth team days.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, for people who do know me from United and who have met me, like I think people will get that vibe from me that I am quite informal. Like I do like to give my time, or even if I just have 5 minutes at the side of the pitch with like the young fans, and like I'll try and be involved with as many fans as I can because do you know what? I was stood on them terraces at one point. I was a kid at one point, you know, and I'm not some superstar. I'm not some A-list celebrity. I'm a human being like everybody else at the end of the day. And you know what I achieved at Cambridge, although I'm proud of it, I'm still no different to any Cambridge fan or anybody for that matter. I'm still Hughesy. You know, I like to have a laugh. I like to have a chat. I like to have a good natter. So yeah, it's class to be able to do that.
I can vouch for that. Good words there, Hughesy. That's how I've known you. You were in a scholarship scheme with my brother Rogan, who I had a chat with the other day. So I've known you from whatever the age, 15, 16, and I can honestly say the same. Like from the start of that journey to where you are now, and in between, you know, like you say, you've never changed. You've always been Liam Hughes and the same person, whether you scored at Wembley or got told off for something you shouldn't have done down Milton Road in the digs, you know. So and that's what makes you you, and that's what makes you a really decent person, you know.
Thank you.
So, but we'll just touch on your sort of earlier football before you arrived at Cambridge and Uzi. So what was that? Were you kicking about the academies up north there?
I found it. I've always loved football. My dad, family, always been around it. Loved playing it when I was a kid. Had like ability, like just played for the fun of it, like enjoy playing with my mates and stuff. Never really found myself in academies because I moved around a little bit. So when I was younger, I played for Rotherham Town, had to face quite a lot of rejection and told no at a young age, and kind of got let go from Rotherham United. So I went to play for Rotherham Town, which was like a Sunday League team. My dad we moved to Scunthorpe because of work. He works on the rail, so we moved to there. Kind of followed, like when I was playing for Rotherham Town, I was commuting back, but at the time there was an FA ruling that stated that you can't travel more than 30 miles to play for a grassroots team. And obviously in Scunthorpe to Rotherham's over 30 miles. I think it was like 42 or something like that. So I appealed it, lost the appeal. So again, had to deal with that, like told I can't play with my friends anymore. So I moved to a new area, and there was a local side called Park Tigers, another grassroots team. Won everything there was to win with them. My dad was the manager. I played with all the players that I was at school with, won literally any trophy, all the tournaments, wiping the floor with people, and got picked up by Leeds United.
Right. Okay.
And that was quite a young age. So I was around 13. So I went and played for Leeds Shadow Squad. Might have been a bit younger, actually. I'm not too sure. But playing for Leeds, travelling up to Thorpe Arch. My dad would drive me everywhere, really supportive. I think you've met my dad a couple of times or a few occasions. He follows me all over wherever I've been. Really supportive. And I didn't make... I played a couple of games for like England schoolboys when I was at Leeds. Played for the academy a few times, and then Scunthorpe United kind of started sniffing around because I was in the shadow squad at Leeds. I was still playing for my grassroots team.
Yeah. Okay.
So then Scunthorpe United came in and kind of said, right, we want you, and they was like an academy level, because I think they were like League One, pushing for the championship at the time.
Yeah.
So I decided to go with Scunthorpe because I had a good opportunity and a good chance, and they offered me a 6-week trial, and on the second week of my trial, they offered me a place in the academy type thing. So I was obviously ecstatic. Played for them for a few years, and at 15, I was under 16s. I was playing with the youth team, so I was really one of the better ones in my age group. And I just remember you go into meetings and you can kind of get a feel of the room. I remember walking in the room and thinking, yeah, I've got a scholarship. I haven't even trained with the 16s this year. I've been with the scholars all the time. So I've got a scholarship. And I was playing centre back, and they said, no, you're not fast enough. I was like, right. Right, okay. So I went out of the room, emotions intact, like walked out proud. I got in the car and started crying. Okay. I was like devastated. So my dad was like, "Listen, don't worry. We'll get this sorted. Don't even panic. We'll sort it." And at the time, if you get released from academy, you get put in this pot called exit trials, and you go to 3 venues. You can attend all 3 if you wanted. And I was like, "Oh, I'll just attend this one." My dad was like, "No, you give yourself the best opportunity. You're attending all 3." I was like, "Oh yeah, brilliant."
That's what I had before.
Yeah, and I put my name down as a centre back. Said Liam Hughes, centre back, blah blah blah. And on the 3rd one, I thought, you know what? Nah, I'm putting my name down as a centre mid. Played a game, scored a hat trick. It was at Lilleshall.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Jason Nolan were there, seen me play, and I scored a hat trick from centre mid. Like literally tore the game apart. Like it was decent. It was decent. And Jason Nolan, I didn't even notice at the time. I got a letter through the post saying from the exit trials, and then there was a list of like 7 clubs.
Right. Oh, really? So,
Yeah, so it was like Northampton, Lincoln, Rotherham again, Cambridge. I can't remember the other ones. They're the one. Yeah. So anyway, by the by, I went to Northampton. They offered me a schoolboy where you just attend and you don't get paid. And then Cambridge offered me a full 2-year scholarship. I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. Went down,
right.
played a game against Halifax, and after that game, I signed my contract scholarship. So Cambridge invited me down, and we went to Repton. Is it Repton? It was like a college tournament thing, and I played there and played against Halifax. And I didn't know at the time I was getting the offer. And yeah, Jez and Nolan took me in and offered me a scholarship.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, so it all sort of happened quite fast. You know, you took their eye at the game at Lilleshall, and then yeah, Jez and Nolan had seen enough really. And next minute you're at Cambridge, and you're mixing with all these hooligans from the Arbury, Logan, and all the rest of them. But
I remember being as a scholar, and we was like with Gerard Malloy,
good player,
Rooney,
good
player.
player. Rooney.
What a good player. What a player. And then
Yeah.
Rogues, obviously, Beza,
Yeah.
who had all been in the system for quite a long time at Cambridge.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Rogues obviously was like Mr. Cambridge, like knew Bez quite a lot, and Rooney as well. So, and Ivesy as well. So
yeah. Adam Marriott, Rory McCauley.
Raws, yeah, they'd been there already. So it was quite nice to come down, and everyone was so welcome.
Yeah.
Like, because I signed with another guy who I used to play for Scunthorpe with called Josh Cooper.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember like settling in quite quickly, and everyone making me feel like quite welcome. And I thought, the thing is, you've got an option, and you either quiet and let it pass you by, or you yourself and hope everyone likes you. And I think, don't get me wrong, I pissed a lot of people off. I annoyed a lot of people, but I never changed myself.
No.
Like, I used to get battered in digs. Like, I remember we had a dartboard room and a table tennis room. I remember the second year scholars getting me in that room, and there's a guy called Brad Hunter. He was a striker, second year striker, and he pinned me down and stabbed me in the head with the darts, mate. It was
really?
so brutal.
That's a bit drastic. I felt sorry for him and Rowe. He said Rowe and Luke Berry was slapping you on the head, and then you was shouting out and swearing, and you got in trouble for swearing.
I got in so much trouble with Jez. It's untrue. Like that was one occasion, and then, like, they used to do it so sly, because Jez used to park the minibus outside his office, as Rogan was saying.
Yeah.
And I was doing it on my own. And then so Rogan's obviously told you that story. So there's a reason why I got landed with the minibus so bad, because at the end of my first year scholar, you have to stay behind and help decorate the digs.
Yeah.
And I took it upon myself to gloss. So everyone knows what gloss is, yeah. But I was 16 years old. I thought it was like paint. So I've glossed. This is no word of a lie, I promise you. 3 houses, because we had 3 houses on Milton Road. I glossed 3 houses in 30 minutes. Ran back to the club to tell Jez. Was like, Jez, I'll finish the glossing. 30 minutes to do 3 whole houses, the stairs, the skirting boards, the doors. I slapped it on like paint. Jez come back and he was like, Hughesy, what have you done? You've trashed the houses. There's gloss all over the carpet. There's running marks, like where it's been dripping. He was like, what have you done? He was like, right, you're never doing anything again in them digs when it comes to decorating. So he made me clean the bus with a toothbrush.
No.
So making me scrub the inside of the floor and the toothbrush, mate.
Really?
Hoovering.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's brilliant. And we were just chatting before we obviously went on record. I like the Stevenage at home playoff story. So you were only a scholar then with the rest of the boys. Obviously, it was absolute epic scenes. I've got a picture of me celebrating when Rendell scored that goal in the last minute.
Yeah,
you boys were obviously buzzing and up in the right at the top where the spare seats were, if there were any that day.
Yeah,
there and I think you got told off for some wild celebrations, didn't you?
Yeah. So what it was is, I was a first year at the time, and we had these old Van den El tracksuits on because they were the sponsors at the time, I believe. Or was it Macron?
Yeah.
I remember. Because they used to have a shop. I think it was Macron. It was Macron because they had a shop underneath the newsstand, didn't they?
Yes, correct.
Anyway, we had these tracksuits on, and we was buzzing when that goal went in. And I had the idea, why don't we go to the Newmarket Road end and get involved in the carnage? So I swear Mazza was with me. I don't know why I want to say Mazza. I think Mazza was with me.
We'll go with Mazza. He's
I'll go with Maz, yeah.
I think he's a Cambridge United fan.
Anyway, we've literally the guards of like the security have let us through because we've Cambridge United youth team. Like we've gone into the Newmarket Road end. There's yellow pages being thrown everywhere. Everyone's going bounce, bounce, Amber Army, and literally I'm at the front giving it all this. Anyway, next day, and then then we've jumped over the barrier after the final whistle, pitch invasion, getting involved in all the carnage, giving it big un. And then the next day, Jez has dragged the youth team in, and we're sat in the meeting, and he goes, Hughesy, my office. And his office at the time was underneath the stands.
Yeah.
And so I've gone into his little office room, and he's just gone like this, but press play on his laptop, showing me the CCTV footage of me in the Newmarket Road end in my tracksuit, going like this with all the Cambridge fans, and then jumping on the pitch. Week's wages.
Really? That's fantastic.
Get out, week's wages. I was like,
no, that's brilliant. So many stories. Obviously, I've heard some of them, some I haven't, but no, brilliant time. So, yeah, you know, fair to say you had a scream when you were in them digs with them boys, and you made friends for life as well. You know, it's great that I know you boys still keep in contact, and like I said, you know, some went on and done great things, some didn't, some played locally, some stopped playing, and you've all got different stories. But like you kind of feel the base of a good friendship from them.
Yeah, you do. I think with the group that we had, I think there's not one bad thing I could say about any of the lads in that group in any of the age group. So third year scholars, second year scholars, when I was a first year, even now, like the humility that everybody has, like Eadsy's gone on to do his own thing. Obviously, Berry's quite successful at Luton. Rogues has gone on to do his own thing over in Australia now. Jack Bailey moved to America.
Yeah.
You know, there's some good lads. Do you know what I mean? That like we've all had different careers in football or whatever it is, but there's not one lad I can hold my hand on my heart and say, yeah, what a knobhead he was, because they're all good lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
with obviously you mentioned Jez a couple of times. Like people have in different opinions. You know, like he done great things for Cambridge United, and maybe some not great things for Cambridge United. But we'll leave that up for debate.
Of course. I think you know, with Jez is you've got to realise. We was out of the Football League for like 9 years. We had zero funding for our youth setup. And what he'd done for the kid, like the young lads coming through to give them an opportunity to play in the first team was remarkable. Like he'd done that himself. Like I'm not blowing his trumpet or whatever, because I disagree with a lot of things. And me and Jez literally come this close to literally having fisticuffs on so many occasions where we're in the office. I don't agree what he said. He don't agree what I've said. He stood up. I stood up. And we're this close to each other, like screaming.
Sounds like Middleton and Tony Bellew last night.
Yeah, and I'm Tony Bellew.
Yeah.
And the thing with Jez is, like, as much as I hated some of these things and getting us in at 8 o'clock, scrubbing kit that the first team had played in because we'd lost against Felix, though, like, I respected him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think if you asked any of the lads that, like ultimately what it come down to was respect. Like I think a lot of people would say, all right, I respect him because he tried to do the right thing. It might not have worked.
Yeah.
Again, he's like Marmite, and he's like, some people like him, some people don't. That's fine.
Yeah.
What he done for me and what he done for the youth team, he succeeded because remember, like in our second year, when there was like me, Beza, Rogues, Ivesy, Mazza, like we won the regions.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think we come runners up, didn't we?
yeah. I think it was running up. Yeah,
Uh,
but going back to Jez, although he was on your case a lot, it's fair to say he was a bit of a disciplinarian. He believed in you and in your football and your play, and he obviously sees something. And you spoke to me earlier about it. He fully believed that you could go on and play in the football league, or certainly at minimum, a really well conference level or above. So
I think with Jez, like that's what frustrated him about me is because he realized what I could bring and to the table, yet I would mess about or I wouldn't take things as serious or I didn't believe in my own ability or I didn't have that confidence because of whatever it was. I mean, the thing with Jez is he was a disciplinarian, like he was so regimented in his ways. Like we go like Holcombe Sands and do the running, and
yeah,
I just remember like going up there and I when we used to go in the sea at the end, like to cool off and stuff. Like I'd just mess about and he'd lose his head at me. He would go mental at me because we do races up the sand dunes. We go
yeah,
on the run with Nolan. And like it was hard work, but at the end, I wanted to laugh. Like we
yeah,
just done serious work. Like let
yeah,
me have a laugh now. And
yeah,
I don't think he could accept and like the diet side of it. The story where I was doing the minibus at the club, and Jez come round to do an inspection of the digs, and he emptied my drawers out, and there was there was like Mawams, Oreos, popcorn, diet, full fat cokes. There was biscuits. There was crisps, and he'd emptied it out. All my clothes. I got back. All my clothes were all over my room. I was like, "Where are my sweets, man?" And I was sharing a room. I was sharing a room with Easy at the time, and I remember blaming him. I was like, "You grassed me up. Like,
yeah.
you grassed me up. It was you, wasn't it?" And I don't think it was. I just think that's Jez. And I
Well, there
remember,
was a rumor that E.T. was Jez's favourite, but
nah, do you
enough
know?
debate.
The thing is, yeah, we've then got called into a meeting, and Jez has got this big bag of like junk food and just tipped the bag upside down. And it's
Really?
like honestly, it's like a never ending bag. He keeps shaking it, and things are just going blop, blop, blop onto the table. And we're all looking around, like trying not to laugh.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
I remember he was like, "Whose is all this?" No, he's picking each individual thing up and going, "Whose are these?" And
Really?
my hand would go, "Whose are these? And what about these? Are these all yours, Husey?" I was like, "Yeah, pretty much."
yeah.
And
Uh,
I got kicked out of digs. I got kicked out of digs. My dad had to drive me from Scunthorpe to Cambridge because at the time I was a third year. I was a third year, so
right,
I was meant to be. I was like training with the first team as well, and I was like Martin Ling was the manager, and I was travelling in
right.
from
Okay, yeah.
Scunthorpe. So yeah,
Okay.
he wouldn't let me
Wow.
stay in digs.
You've done enough damage with the sweets and the glossing and whatever else. So some great,
Half of it.
great memories made. It's nice you can look back and laugh now.
Yeah, of course you can.
Although you were probably laughing at the time.
I was the cat with 21 lives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just going back to football side, Hughesy, how did the transition from them scholarship days? Obviously, we spoke about the laughing and joking and the games and the pranks and whatever else, but in the meantime, you were doing the stuff on the pitch. I mean, I obviously used to watch quite a lot of the games at the college because my brother was playing,
Yeah,
and you were a player that kind of took the eye with improvement. You sort of just improved. You were versatile, and obviously, you said Lingy was the manager. Like, how was the transition made into the first team? You're obviously doing well for CRC,
yeah,
but was it Jez? Was it Martin Ling? How did you get that opportunity and that stepping stone? Because that's still quite a big jump from
absolutely.
from playing in that CRC league to playing against. decent pros in the conference.
Yeah, I think when I made that transition and made that step, it was at a time. The first initial step was in my second year when Brabs and Cardi were kind of at the helm, and they loved me, like literally seen me like training and was like, "Yeah, if you don't get a pro, it's a disgrace." Like really,
Yeah.
like looked after me, took me under the wing and that. And I remember in my third year, my second year, sorry, I was banging in goals. I think I scored like 16 or 19 in 16 games or something, like relatively good. I was scoring quite a lot of goals, like very similar to the Adam Marriott because he'd already moved on. So there was them shoes to fill type thing, and there was like I was playing up front and I'd scored quite a few goals, I remember, and I made that transition, and with success, kind of breeds a little bit of confidence and a little bit of arrogance. Like you think, yeah, I deserve to be here. I'm doing a business. Do you know what I mean? So I was training with the first team, and when you go into a new environment like that, you're kind of fresh, you're kind of young, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, and that's what I used to try and bring to the training sessions. Remember, I was like kind of dipping in and out at this point. It was kind of Mazza was in there all the time, Rawls was in there all the time, Beza was in there all the time, and I just kept remembering that every time I went back to the CRC, I was like, nah, don't want that. Don't want to be here. I want to be with the first team. I deserve to be with the first team. Me and Eadsy were kind of like chopping and changing. So like Eadsy would be going, or me and Eadsy would head over to kind of make up numbers, if that makes sense, or to get involved with a five-a-side. And I found the transition was relatively smooth. And towards the back end of Martin Ling's reign, I was training with him pretty consistently all the time, and was due to make my debut away at Rushden and Diamonds, but it was on the back of a defeat. I can't remember who to. It always evades me, but I was due to get my debut. Like Martin Ling rang me on the phone, said, "Listen, I'm going to start you tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
going to start you tomorrow," and yeah, I was buzzing, went to bed like early, ate the correct food, like literally prepared right. And then I found out Martin Ling had got sacked.
Yeah.
And Jez was taking over. So I'm thinking, am I going to start still? Am I going to start? Am I not? Anyway, we got to the ground. He's doing the team and that. Gone through. Berry is starting. Bez has started. And I'm on the bench and I'm literally livid, like raging, bubbling up, thinking, this guy, I'm going to fight him now. I'm raging, so angry.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just remember Jez pulling me and said, "Listen, you'll get your opportunity." And at this point, we were like in a relegation battle. We were well in the relegation battle.
Yeah.
It was the season, if you remember, where we were playing York. York were up at the top, pushing for playoff places and promotion, and we actually beat them 2-1 with a team of kids. We had Bez, there was me, there was Jordan Patrick, there was like
He played.
Blaino, yeah, Blaine Hudson was on the bench. Like we had a young team. Josh Coulson, obviously.
Yeah.
We had kids in and Jez, I think at the time, Cambridge United underachieved with the budget they had, the players they brought in. We had like Adam Miller, Danny Wright had come in, who was obviously really successful at Histon.
Yeah.
So Dave Partridge, Sardi, we had big names, like relatively big names for the level, and paying a lot of money to these players. And James Jennings, Courtney Pitt, these players. And we weren't succeeding. So I remember Jez literally getting the young lads together and saying, "Look, we might go down, but we're going to go fighting." And he knew that we'd run through a big brick wall for him.
Yeah.
And we played York. Obviously, I made my debut against Grimsby. That was the home debut where I come off the bench.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a start against York. It was my official full debut.
Yeah.
And because I've been coming on drips and drabs, and I just remember Kev Roberts was on the right hand side flying down, and he's kind of shanked his cross, or he probably didn't, pulled it back, and I've caught it on the half volley, bang, bottom corner, keeper's
Right.
left, like bang. I just remember that being the start, really, of
Yeah.
my kind of uphill rise
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there's when you start that ladder as a footballer, there's certain blips in the road. I mean, when Richard Money first took over, I went on loan to Corby. A lot of people forget about my loan to Corby, you
Yeah.
know. Uh,
Yeah. Looking up on your stats yesterday, obviously I know a lot about your career, but yeah, that was one that kind of eluded me. So yeah, so you
Absolutely.
have to take 2 or 3 steps back to then, you know,
Exactly. And I always had that mindset that sometimes you do have to take a step back to go 2 steps forward.
yeah,
And when I got told I was going on loan to Corby, I embraced it. I scored 6 goals in 4 games.
really, really,
Excelled, and then Cambridge called me back straight away, and the rest is history. From
yeah,
that moment on, I was playing week in, week out, keeping arguably better players. Because remember, my time at Cambridge United weren't always Hughesy is a legend.
yeah,
Is I had mixed emotions. I was getting abuse from some people, um, and I was on the back end because remember I was playing in loads of different positions, and some people didn't like it. It weren't my fault, but obviously they pay for an opinion.
yeah,
I know that I didn't make everybody happy. I weren't the best player. I was confident in my ability that I could play at a good level. I wasn't. So, for instance, me playing right mid, if you put it on paper, there's in our promotion winning season, I played right mid quite a lot, and I was up against Nathan Arnold, rapid,
yeah,
skillful,
yeah,
against 6'4", tall, athletic.
yeah,
You couldn't play Nathan on paper. I was up
yeah,
against Ryan Donaldson, guy played in the Premier League.
yeah,
Nathaniel Mendes Lang went on to play for Cardiff in the Premier League, Championship footballer. I was keeping these players out of the team because I had the passion to, you know what, if there's a tackle, I'll put my head in
yeah,
if I need to. I will
yeah,
dive in front of a ball. I'll do anything. I'll work hard. I'll run all day for you. The way we were playing, it was kind of Maxi would kick it, I'd flick it on, and we'd play all our football in their half, you know.
yeah,
And I think that's how we got our success because we had a game plan and we knew what we was doing, especially under Richard Money, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's a good point because looking back on it, it's fair to say it weren't the most blessed team with ability all over, but everyone knew their job, and obviously Richard Money was instrumental. And we'll go to your goal at Wembley, which obviously what a moment. I was behind the goal
Yeah.
with my brother Specs, and yeah, like what a day, what a feeling, what a moment.
Well,
But you touched on in one of your interviews I saw with the coconuts about you'd actually worked on that set piece. So that's what I mean. There was a lot of plan to Richard Money's team, and obviously, well, I wouldn't want to upset Richard Money, but you'll be able to tell me more about him. He was probably a bit of a master of his trade and knew what he wanted out of his players and got the best out of that team. It was fair.
yeah, the thing with Richard Money is he's very old fashioned in his ways. If you ain't doing your job, he's going to tell you. I
Yeah,
remember Lincoln away in the promotion season. He hung me off a peg. When I say hung me, he picked me up and put me on a peg. And he was very vocal in his feelings about me in the press, to my face, whatever it may be. He was very vocal and he had a lot of belief in me. And I think he knew to get the best out of me, sometimes you needed to put your arm around me. Sometimes you needed to tell me I was doing a good job. Sometimes I needed a rocket. I think he had that balance, and
yeah,
that was not just me. That was throughout the team. Like you touched on there, we were so regimented in what we was doing. Tom Champion, probably the most underrated player
yeah,
um, or got the accolades I've ever known. Like that guy literally was one of the reasons we got promoted, and I can say that honestly. Like, technically, he knows he wasn't like unbelievably blessed, but he broke the game up and he played simple. He gave it to match winners. He just gave me the ball, gave Bezza the ball, gave Ryan Donaldson the ball, gave Dunks the ball. He broke the game up so easily, and that triangle of Josh, Ian, and Tom Champion, arguably, were probably the best triangle in the league, and what won us that playoff final, and
Yeah, yeah,
what got us in the position in the first place. I mean, we were equaling records, Cambridge United records of unbeaten run,
yeah,
and yeah, you can look at the goal scorers, Kwesi, unbelievable talent, Adam Cunnington come in, Tom Elliott come in, we had Dunks, Ryan again, myself and Bez. Yeah, we were all right, but them three, I lost count of how many clean sheets we got.
yeah, yeah. That's what success is built on. Husey, we went to Wembley twice. With you could maybe argue it's up for debate, but maybe a more glamorous attacking side twice. And obviously Exeter, we just didn't turn up on the day. They weren't pretty, but Tisdale had them, in good shape. They knew their job. They scored a set piece, 1-0, job done. We
Yeah,
went back against Torquay a couple of years later, and I thought, well, this is our time. We've lost once, so it's our turn to win against the West Country side.
yeah,
And no, we lost again and didn't perform on the day. We had the likes of Courtney Pitt and Robbie Wilmot and whoever else that were tearing it up. But yeah, everyone knew their job, and we were a bit more like that. We'd been to Wembley obviously against Gosport, and I
yeah,
remember being there thinking, well, this is the sort of dress rehearsal. We need to make sure we get back here. The
yeah,
players have been there and tasted Wembley, and hopefully they've done the day out, and because it must be a bit we've gone from the Abbey and these sort of mundane stadiums in the conference, Tamworth and wherever else, and then all of a sudden you're playing at the national stadium. So you got that out of your system hopefully, and then it was right, heads on. We need to make sure we win this game and get back where we should be after 9 years being out of the league, which was like,
absolutely. I think the thing with the group we had is we knew we weren't anything pretty. We knew we weren't a bunch of prima donnas. The thing that we knew is that mentality and heart and passion outweighs ability tenfold. And we go into some games and we were horrendous. Like, I think most of the lads would say the same. We had some stinking games where I remember the Tamworth game, prime example.
yeah,
We come away with a 1-0 win.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And yeah, I know the free kick, unbelievable from myself, obviously.
yeah.
But
No,
what I'm getting at is that there were so many games like that where we go to Welling and it weren't
yeah,
a game and we ground out a 1-0 win.
yeah,
And you come away from it and you think they're the games where champions are made, because
yeah,
it's pretty, it's horrible.
yeah,
And we were on a little bit of a knife edge and we played Nuneaton, I remember, at home, and we beat them. I think it was 3-2. And Nuneaton at that time, they were decent. They had Lewis Malt up top. They had like a good team. They were up there. And we beat them 3-2. Kwesi scored, Harrison scored, and Beza scored.
yes,
And that was the turning point. You know?
yes. I remember the game. Yeah, we had crowd wise, we had top, it was 3,000, three and a
Yeah.
half thousand plus, which at that time was a
Tuesday night as well.
yeah, it was a bulky crowd. I remember. Yeah, it was a good victory. So yeah, like great to finally get promotion. And we talk about after Wembley, me and Specs are obviously elated. We've got back on the tube, got back to Cambridge sharpish. We've gone for a curry. We said, right, we better go out. We'll go straight down the town. That's where they'll all be. That was my only regret of that day. Everyone went back to the club, but we didn't get the text or the memo, so we sat
Mate,
up.
I'll tell you about that night, right? I'll tell you what happened that night. We got back to the club, and on the team bus, like, obviously we were on the source, mate. We me and Ryan Donaldson were on it when we was in doing the pre-match, the post-match conference, because we both scored. we were literally there with cans of Carling. Richard Money's answering all the questions. Me and Ryan are there with our shirts off, like sipping. Sun newspaper are there, Daily Mail are there, Telegraph are there. Literally everyone. We're just like got 2 cans each. Anyway, gets into the changing rooms. Everything's going mental. Come out. Got on the team bus back to the club straight away, all in our tracksuits, going mental. Worse for wear, Greg Taylor smashes a bottle on my hand and literally slices my finger. Oh, bleeding everywhere. And so I went to hospital and I met Jay was in there. I think you've seen the picture.
Oh, right, okay.
So Jay was in there, and obviously he's passed away now. Obviously, avid Cambridge United supporter. I think his brother does quite a lot now and takes like the sign everywhere for him.
Okay.
Um,
Yes, yeah, sorry, I'm with you now, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I know
and
you, brothers.
I literally sat.
Goddard brothers, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Goddard.
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh, bust my ankle celebrating you guys win at Wembley," and so I sat with him for like 2 hours talking. I put my medal around his neck, had a picture with him,
Oh, great.
and obviously, like what a guy he was,
Yeah.
what a legend. He's the legend, you know, and
Yeah.
obviously everything that his family went to, like my heart went out to him because although I only met him once, he's the type of person who leaves a mark on you. You know what I mean? And if his family are watching now, obviously, I've got a lot of respect for what they do for Jay, and got a lot of time for their family.
Yeah, no, I'm sure friends and family will see it, and yeah, no, kind words. And if you're going to be stuck in A&E, then you know you both came out of it with great memories.
Yeah, and do you know what? It was, I was everyone wanted to talk to me. Obviously, everyone wanted a picture with me. Everyone wanted to put the medal on.
Yeah,
And you know the thing with me is like that day was it was a boyhood dream come true, and for me to share it with my family, with my friends, with Cambridge United, doing it with Cambridge United, where I was since 15 years old. Like, didn't have the easiest scholarship, met some amazing people, had some great memories. That just topped it off for me. And do you know what? I had a good couple of seasons in League Two, enjoyed that. And do you know when I bowed out eventually when Sean Derry came in and I weren't in his plans? Yeah, I didn't agree with it because I didn't have a fair crack at the whip. And when I did have a fair crack at the whip, I arguably was a better player. I remember coming on in the FA Cup against Doncaster.
I remember you
That
played
was,
really well.
yeah, played really well, and that was my last game for Cambridge United.
Yeah,
And I walked out of Cambridge with my head held high because I knew that I'd broken my bones for Cambridge. I remember throwing my body in the way of a shot away at Newport when we're winning 1-0 and breaking my wrist. And they equalised in the last seconds of the game. I just remember that club giving me so much and me feeling like I've repaid it a little bit. And for like the fans, I felt like that goal in itself has repaid all the faith and all the support that I've got from staff, players, friends, fans alike. Cambridge as a whole will always have a place in my heart. And I've met some lifelong friends, Rogan, Eadsy. Might not talk every day, you know, but do you know what? Always have time of day to sit and have a beer or a chat or whatever it is. So many people who from Cambridge who I hold close as good friends, yourself included. Like your family, like have looked after me on a number of occasions when I've been worse for wear after a night out with Rogue.
Yeah, no, brilliant. No, you're more than welcome, mate. Like I say, you've always been the same. You're always the Hughesy that we know. Yeah, good memories, good times. So yeah, like obviously we touched on the promotion. Then Manchester United come along the season after. Like it was we're thinking, hang on, we've got promoted. We've been out of the league 9 years. We're getting a little bit of payback here. We've won at Wembley. Then obviously the following season we were doing all right. You kind of riding that crest of a wave and took that form into the following season. And then I remember I was working away. I work in horse racing, but I was working away doing fire alarms with a friend actually down in Southampton.
Yeah.
He was down the other opposite end of the corridor to me. I was in the Premier Inn. We were just sat. I was sat there in my shirt and coat and jeans, ready to go out for dinner after a long, hard day putting fire alarms in an old people's home. Sat there in Southampton watching the draw, and Cambridge United. And then when they said Manchester United, he said he could hear me down the other side of the Premier Inn when that draw.
I remember the build up to it though. Like we had I think if you look back at the rounds leading up to it, I think we played Newmarket in like a preliminary round of the FA Cup, and we beat them. We only beat them 1-0. Had it was horrible conditions. Adam Clinton scored a header. In the first round, we had was it Mansfield? We had Mansfield, Fleetwood, Luton, and then Man United. You remember? So it was like you look at the run up to them games. Mansfield, tough game, like by any stretch. Like if you're playing League Two football, you're hoping for a Conference North or a Conference Premier team, like someone lower down the ladder. We got someone in the same league, real difficult task. And then we got, I can't remember, I swear, we got Fleetwood because Maxi was playing for Fleetwood at the time, Chris Maxwell. Quasar scored because, I remember or is it Fleetwood in the first round, then Mansfield, then Luton? Because we took Mansfield to a replay because we equalised in the last minute.
Yes, it was. Was it Sully Kai, wasn't it?
Sully Kai. And then we beat them at their place. Then we had Luton, and we beat Luton.
Oh, game. You played the through ball, didn't you?
So I played the ball to Robbie Simpson. Yeah, and then Robbie Simpson cut it back to Ryan. Ryan took on Mark Tyler, who was obviously a legend at Luton at the time. Penalty. Simo scored the penalty, and then I made the tackle centre mid, like proper whack this geezer. Fairly, but Rogan would be proud of the tackle because Rogan did a bit of that. Whack this geezer and set Champs off with a ball. Champs fed Ryan. Ryan went on to score, beat him 2-1, obviously, in the next round. And I had young girls at the time, Grace May and Bella. And I just remember sitting watching this tie on my phone because I was bathing them at the time.
Yeah.
In the bathroom. So I'm bathing the kids. My phone's there. I'm looking at my phone, like bathing my kids and that. Cambridge United comes out. I'm going, Cambridge. Who we got? I think what was it? Ball 31 or 33 or something.
Yeah.
And Manchester United, and I just started screaming, and my kids started crying. I was running up and down the stairs. I was going, and then my phone, ding, ding, ding. And I was like, what's going on? All my school friends literally hadn't spoken to him like since you were 11. All of them get us a ticket. Like, oh my God, you're playing Man United. And for that build up to the game, that was the first time I felt a little bit like a celebrity.
Yeah, you would do, yeah.
Everybody wanted to talk to me, like, and I'm sure it was the same for the other guys. Everyone wanted to talk to you. Everybody wanted a piece of that stardom, if you like, because you're playing against Di Maria, who's on £250,000 a week. You know what I mean? And I remember the build up to it. We had a good run of form. Like we won like 3 out of 4 games, and unbeaten going into the Man United game. And the lads actually starting to think, we could. Do you know what? We could do these. We could beat them.
Yeah, especially them coming here. Like
it's a fortress. Like we was a good form, and
we usually like that night. I know smaller teams, when a big team comes to a smaller team, you can stifle them, stop them play, and make it uncomfortable for them. But we deserved that draw. Chris Dunn obviously probably played his best game he's played for Cambridge United that night. But
well, the thing is, You
we
work hard
well.
and you get rewards, don't you?
Yeah,
But by no means necessary did we think that we was going to lose that game. We didn't sit back, remember? Towards the end of the game, obviously, you have to ride wave after wave because the
yeah,
quality they had. I remember Michael Carrick picking out this pass to Falcao, and honestly, it is eye of a needle stuff. Like bent it round like the midfielders into Falcao's path in between a gap like that, bent it round into him, and I'm thinking, how have you done? Like the replay's a joke,
yeah,
and Gunny's obviously made a save, but we didn't sit back. We took the game to him. We had chances as well, you know. Like
yeah,
I had a volley, from a corner. Josh's header's obviously the big one. We had a
yeah.
couple of shots from Cameron McGeehan. And I just remember like growing in confidence because before the game, like I'd been compared. I don't know if you remember. Richard Money compared me to Fellaini. He said, I am Cambridge United version of Fellaini.
Better, I'd say.
And I just remember him saying to me, listen, I want you to do a job against Fellaini.
That sounds mad, doesn't it?
I want you to do a job against Fellaini.
Yeah,
And I want you to, where he goes, I want you to, because he was playing in the hole,
yeah,
Fellaini. And he said, from goal kicks, they're going to try and hit him. If they don't play out, they'll try and hit him.
yeah.
And I want you to stand on his toes and battle, fight him, do anything you can. And I remember him getting subbed off on the 50th minute. And I remember just thinking, yeah, I've done my job there. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, he ain't had a sniff. He has hardly touched the ball.
yeah.
And remember as well, I went in for a tackle with Phil Jones in the 17th minute and tore my ankle ligaments. Like, not many people realise the severity of the tackle. So I got up, adrenaline took over, got to half time, and I said, Greg, my ankles. And he took my boot off and my ankle just went. So
Really.
he was like, oh, you're going to have to come off. I went, I ain't coming off. So he strapped it up, injected it. I went back on the pitch, and I think I got to about 78 minutes, and my ankle just,
Wow.
yeah, gave in on me. And I remember coming off straight into Greg's room, and my ankle, honestly, was massive. Like, I was in that much pain, my hands were shaking.
Really.
And yeah, I just remember thinking, is this because I got told at half time I'm not making Old Trafford. If we draw the game, I ain't making Old Trafford. And I just remember coming over me and thinking, do you know what? If I ain't making Old Trafford, I'm going to try my best to make sure these lads get to Old Trafford and this club does. There's no way you're taking me out of this game. And I had tears in my eyes. And Richard Money come in, he was like, Greg, what do you reckon? And I said, I'm fine. I didn't even let Greg speak. I went, I'm fine. I had tears in my eyes. And I went out. And when you rest your foot, it stiffens up. I just remember running. It was agony. And yeah, we finally got the draw. And when we got the draw and we found out it was going back to Old Trafford, I just remember feeling so elated, so happy. But inside, there was a missing void.
Yeah.
Um,
That you might not be able to get the chance to play there.
yeah. And
Did you
I,
complete the half, Hughes? Sorry to interrupt you. Did you complete the second half? I can't remember.
the Man United game, no, I got brought off because my ankle had it. So I finished.
At half time, was it? I can't
No,
remember.
it was 78 minutes. I made 78 minutes.
You said, yeah, yeah. So that was. Did Chadders come on? Did he?
Chad has come on. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he come on and just done a steady job and kept the ball and pumped
Yeah,
it.
you
Didn't he?
know, I was just gutted,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
And
then
that
where did that leave you for Old Trafford then?
I did everything I could. I was in an ice bucket, but I was out for about 4 months with my ankle ligaments, and that was the real start of my downward spiral. My mental health took a turn for the worst, and I started doing stupid things, and
Yeah,
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 all downhill after that.
yeah. So sort of hit them heights, and then that's
Yeah,
the trouble. I suppose when you do hit heights, the only way is down, really, isn't it? You know, like
absolutely.
you're up there, you're on cloud nine. You talk about your goal at Wembley. I mean, if you could bottle that, only you know how that feels. I mean, it felt brilliant for us, but
Yeah, it was incredible. Like,
it never leaves you. You can always, like you say, you can
yeah,
always call that moment, and like you say, if you could bottle that, and you probably couldn't put a price on it yourself. And
no, I just look back and I think in anything in life, in all aspects of life, when you do eventually reach your peak, whatever that may be, you would hope that you plateau a little bit and you'll gradually, slowly come down to a level. Or and that's not just football; that is in every aspect. Um, you're always going to have highs. You're always going to have lows. The thing with me is that in my mind, I had the highs of Wembley and Man United, and remember that my improvement was kind of like youth team days, first team, playing week in week out, succeeding, doing well, man of the match performances, etc. Wembley, Man United, and then after Man United, my career or my journey kind of just went plummeted, and that's what happened with me and what I couldn't really come to grips with is that highs were high, lows were
yeah, yeah,
undescribable.
yeah. Yeah, like we've all sort of, that's been quite well documented, and you've had a lot of support of the Cambridge United family, if you like.
Yeah,
Um, so it's great to see that. Obviously, you did hit them lows. We see you in the highs, and you've like to think you've come through them. You've set your own business up in Wand, and how's Liam Hughes now? Obviously post Cambridge United, you've had a few clubs and still play. You have lived the dream. I mean, if I was in your shoes, I'd be a happy man. Always be able to look back and be proud. You
yeah,
know, uh, you scored one of the goals that got my club back in the football league, and even for that, be forever grateful.
yeah,
Um,
of course, mate.
but yeah, how's Liam Hughes doing now? And just explain to us what's happening with Wand and what you do to help people that are in your position.
Yeah, so me personally now I'm back to the Hughesy people to know and love. I'm happy, settled, um, and I struggled for so long and was so exhausted with what was going on with the drug taking, the alcohol intake, the behaving, the misbehaving, getting in trouble with the police, etc., and making real bad decisions. And it just got to a point where enough was enough, and I had a major choice in to make. And I went to Sporting Chance Clinic, like everybody knows, um, and really concentrated and focused on being a better version of myself because ultimately you never lose certain characteristics, you never lose that soul. You might feel like you do, but deep down you are still you. It's just a journey. It's about the journey of self-recognition again. It's a journey to rediscover yourself. Who was I don't know, because towards the end I was unrecognizable. My behavior was bad. I was drink driving. I was turning up to Darlington drunk. I was taking drugs still, and I was in a real messy situation. And it was at that point where I knew that I needed to change for the sake of myself, my children, and my family. So I went to rehab and got myself sort of focused on myself and come out of there and thought, you know what? I ain't the only person going through this. I am not the only person who has got help, or I'm not the only person who has struggled with drugs, with drink, with suicide attempts, with um, friends who have committed suicide, with loss, with separation, with losing
Yeah,
their kids. I'm not that only person. The world doesn't revolve around me. So I wanted to set something up to give people a voice, hence the birth of Wand, which stands for Wisdom and New Direction. Now, this has been a project of mine since October last year. Um, it's going strong. There's a lot of things in the pipeline. This time with the coronavirus crisis has kind of given me a lot of time to plan and build. I've just put out there now that all services and 8-week programs are completely free of charge, and to observe social distancing will be over Google Meets, FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, email, text, social media. So we are doing a lot to help the community to reach out and talk openly, even if it's just a chat like we're doing now. Because the thing is, I've lived it, I've come through it, I understand it, I have experienced a lot, and I have a lot of knowledge to be able to then relay to other people to help people. Our 8-week program isn't something that I've just made up. This is something that's been tried and tested by clinical directors, top clinical directors in this country, with proven evidence that it works, to get people better.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And we've built a team now. So there's myself, there's Sunice, who's come on board to talk specifically to young and vulnerable women who are maybe suffering domestic violence. So one isn't just an ex-footballer going to deliver talks, going to deliver workshops. It's much bigger than that now. I want one to be in every city across the UK, with people that have lived to tell the tale and giving other people an opportunity to have a voice. Because that's all it is people feeling they don't have anywhere to turn. I want one to become a family, almost like Cambridge United is. Anyone's welcome, and our doors are always open 24/7, to if they need help with addiction, we've got places where we can put them, recommended places we can put them. If they're struggling with mental health, then we have a team on board where you can come and talk to us about it openly. And our programs are all tailored to you. So instead of going to a room where you're sat with a psychologist one-to-one, we will come to you. We will have an initial consultation, gauge what you like, what you dislike. So, for example, if you say to me, I really find it peaceful and relaxing when I'm walking my dog, then we will come and do 1 hour's therapy of your 8-week program whilst on a dog walk. It doesn't have to be in a room. I don't understand why it's all, oh, I need to go into a room, there's music playing, there's often a Buddha on the table, and there's an incense candle lit. It doesn't have to be that way. The reason I do what I do now is because I'm open to the vulnerability of mental health. I suffer with mental health. I can hold my hands up, and that's sometimes difficult for somebody to accept. So what I do with our therapy sessions and one-to-ones and the talks that I deliver across the country is I share my story, make somebody feel comfortable and understand that they're not the only one going through it. Because at the time I went through it, I felt alone. I felt like I was very alone, and I was the only one feeling this way. No, everybody else was really happy. And that's not the case. So opening yourself up to vulnerability and sharing a bit of your personal story, which, by the way, is very personal because it's my life, and it includes my kids, it includes my parents, it includes my family, it includes the suicide of a good friend, it includes the death of grandparents, personal things that you don't really share, that I'm willing to talk about to groups and individuals for them to realize that it's okay to talk.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic way to put it. And yeah, for anyone obviously watching, and and anyone struggling, which there will be, like you touched on, the coronavirus is difficult. We're kind of being told to obviously stay in. Some people can't go to work. You're stuck inside. Some people are suffering. We've seen like rising domestic abuse, and like you say, it's no joke.
Yeah.
There will be people out there struggling or just feeling generally down. They've had everything taken away. They might that might keep them going to a football match on a Saturday afternoon, and they can't do that. When can we do that again? Or there's no support on the television. It can be simple things like that that people are missing, and that's what makes them tick and get by in life, you know.
Absolutely. And I think, like you touched on there, the level of uncertainty that we're all experiencing right now does raise anxiety, does raise emotions. And look, if there is anybody who is listening to this, I totally understand it. I feel it too. I'm not exempt from it. Just because I have mental health issues and come through and deal with my issues now doesn't mean I'm exempt and immune from this. This is making me feel like climbing the walls, you know. I'm in the same boat as all you guys, but just know that with Wand and what we're doing at the minute, given the lockdown and for the foreseeable future until things go back to normal, the services that we're offering to the public, to the communities, no matter where you are in the country, will help you, will get you better, will make you feel better. You may come on a call or an email, you may write an email and feel horrendous. Trust me when I say 100%, I promise you this, after a conversation with me or one of our team members, you will walk away feeling better. I'll guarantee it.
No, fantastic stuff, mate. Thanks for sharing that with us. Usually, it's good to hear, and maybe hopefully, if it can help one person, if not more, then it's job done.
Yeah, that's why we do it, mate. That's why we do it. Just one person. If I help one person, then the whole reason I set it up
exactly.
becomes important.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So we'll just wrap it up. We've just got a couple of quick questions going back to the football. You can't say the Abbey Stadium. What's your favourite stadium that you've played in?
Favourite stadium I've played in.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can't say Wembley would be too obvious. All right.
Okay.
So we can't say the Abbey Stadium because we know that's the best ground in England.
Yeah.
And we can't say Wembley because it's too obvious.
Okay. So I'm going to go Parkhead, Celtic Park. When I went up to Inverness, Cali Thistle. Obviously, they're a massive club in Europe, in Scotland, and went up there, and there was 47,000 people there. The Green Brigade were out in force. It was February. It was freezing. They all had their tops off, and I came on. Actually, we was 3-1 down, and I came on and I hit the crossbar, and I was buzzing. It was such a good experience. So yeah, Parkhead's a fantastic ground to play at. Either that or Fratton Park.
Yeah.
Just because of the atmosphere.
Not that own goal situation.
That weren't my fault. It didn't go down. It was my own goal.
It was kicked at you, wasn't it?
Nah, so I cleared it off the line. It was almost like Aaron Lennon and Gareth Bale, if you remember that goal, where he kicked Gareth Bale's face.
Yeah, I got there just before half time. It was about a 12-hour day to watch.
We were smashing them. We were battering them, you know. And Kwesi had put us in the lead, I think.
No.
Was it Kwesi who scored?
He did score a header. I think we went 1-1. Was it 1-1?
Yeah, one each. Yeah, one each, because Taylor scored. Taylor scored.
Yeah, he did. Ryan Taylor, the ginger
Ryan Taylor, ginger haired one, yeah. And then the cross come in, and I'm on the line. It's been headed. I've cleared it, and Tom Bonner was stood right in front of me.
Yeah.
So he's cleared against him, smacked him, and gone in, and it was right in their main stands, like a massive.
Yeah.
As much as I love that ground, not a good moment.
No, but like you say, what a stadium and atmosphere. Best player you've played against?
Best player I've played against. Oh, do you know what? I want to say like one of the Man United boys, but when I played against them, they weren't actually that good. Like no disrespect though. Like I think any of the lads would say the same. Like we were good, we were on form, but I don't think any of their players showed their true, real world class that they have. Like Di Maria, what a player! Falcao, what a player! Van Persie. But the best player I've probably played against, I am gonna say, is Michael Carrick. I've never seen a player with the vision and the ability to thread a pass through eye of an needle. Like just a pleasure to watch him. Like even growing up and stuff, like on the telly, on when he was at West Ham as a kid, like coming through, and when he was at United as well, like just unbelievable player. And to play against him, a lot of people like think, oh, Carrick, like he's a bit of an unknown, isn't he? Like,
Yeah.
but he was what a player, what a career as well.
Just on Carrick, do you know what? I'm going back years ago now. I used to be best friends with a lad called Dan Parker. His
All right.
dad, Roger, was the Cambridge United kit man back in the day. We were going to Portsmouth, actually. Ironically, we stopped off in London on the train and we got a black cab. And taxi driver then, we was talking about football and we was on about Joe Cole because he was a West Ham fan. He said,
Yeah.
"Do you know what?" He said, "We've got someone better than that." And he hadn't come off on the scene then, and it was Michael Carrick, and
Yeah,
he was an unheard of then, or just coming out of the youth team, if you like. So
yeah,
yeah,
and I think with Michael Carrick, I think he was kind of underrated as well because
yeah,
he kind of did all the dirty work and he could pass a ball.
yeah,
Technically, a very gifted player, but he did the dirty work as well, and
yeah,
almost almost went unseen because of the big stars, if you like, of that game, like Di Maria, Falcao, Van Persie, De Gea, and kind of look at the team sheet, and you don't really think Michael Carrick, but he was their best player on the night, hands
yeah.
down.
Yeah, he did play well. Do you find just finally in that Manchester United game, got to ask this, did the concentration levels just have to be that much higher than when you played Newport County or Lincoln City or Nuneaton or any of them teams? Like, it might sound obvious, but is it sort of just intense concentration because of their movement? And like you said, you have to follow Fellaini's every move, and that's
Yeah,
obviously easier said than done, because obviously even in the Premier League, he'd pop up or he'd win headers just
yeah,
because he's
I think
superior.
I think that um, we come off that pitch physically and mentally exhausted because
Yeah,
with the players they had and the team they had, and the ability they've got is that if you have a lapse in concentration for one split second, they will open you up, as proven with that Michael Carrick pass to Falcao.
yeah,
Uh, that wasn't necessarily a lapse in concentration, but there was enough gap because we've been working on being compact, force them wide, defend the box. You know, as simple as that. Compact, send them wide, believe yourself that we're big enough and strong enough to win headers in the box. And for that split second, there was obviously a little bit of a big gap to find that pass. So yeah, you have to be switched on literally every second. And like you said there with Fellaini, like you never know when he's going to pop up. The amount of times I got elbowed in the face and like and it was a battle, and
yeah,
going into tackles and you know what, thinking, all right, yeah, you're on so much money a week, you play for Man United, but you know what? I'm a man as well, I'll stand here and we'll go toe to toe. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Have that mentality,
have
right?
you've got more ability than I've got. Have you got my heart though? Do you know what I'm saying? And
That,
I think 1 to 11, the answer to that question is we had more heart than them. We had more desire. We put our bodies on the line, and yeah, we got the rewards of that.
brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Hughesy. This has
My
been a
pleasure, mate.
yeah, and yeah, no, it's been absolutely fantastic. We've had a laugh. It's been serious. Great stuff on the mental health, and hopefully, like I say, people can listen and don't be afraid to reach out and get help. And one's there, Hughesy's on Facebook, so please bear that in mind. Anyone that's watching, and yeah, just talk, come together, do something that you enjoy and like. That's what I'm doing with this. I've done bits of media work before, and it's something I really am passionate about. So
My pleasure, mate.
hoping to speak to Paul Wantless later on in the week about his
Awesome.
time at Cambridge United. And yeah, just everyone keep happy, safe, and well. And there will be a normal again, and we'll get through this horrible
Yeah,
period hopefully. So what's lockdown life been for Hughesy just at the minute? I suppose, like you said, just being at home and bit of homeschooling and
yeah. I think the thing is that with everything that you do, routine, especially for me, is massive. So waking up and making sure just little things like you make your bed, or just even if you start your day off with a cup of tea or whatever it is you do, just try and have a little bit of normality, because there's so many things going on in the world around you that you can't control. But the one thing you can control is how you fulfill the hours in the day. You know, I think I speak for practically everyone and say that if we could, we'd all just stay in bed, watch telly, and binge eat and snack. And but the reality of it is how happy would you actually feel? You know, like we've been given an opportunity here to slow down, because our lives are so fast and frantic and mental. And we've been given, although the circumstances are um, a little bit rubbish, but we've been given an opportunity to slow down,
Yeah,
to enjoy time with your loved ones. You know, if you're on lockdown with your kids, to actually listen to how they are and help them with their schoolwork, and play with them in the garden. And working 9 to 5, you don't necessarily get that opportunity. Or if you're on the road a lot or whatever it may be, take this time to slow down. Take this time to appreciate what actually happiness is. I put a post on my social media page that when you meet somebody, everybody asks you, "Oh, what are you doing nowadays? What do you do for work?" And the reality is nobody genuinely asks each other anymore, "Are you happy?"
yeah,
Like, what is everybody's definition of happiness? You know, is it a house? Is it money? Is it cars? Is it? We've got an opportunity here where coronavirus, as horrible and as unfortunate as it is, cars don't matter because we hardly use them. Your clothes, can't go out and wear them or buy them. Money doesn't matter really. The only thing that really matters is who's around you, your family, your friends, keeping in touch with loved ones, check in on loved ones, and stay positive, because it ain't going to last forever. Let's be honest.
no,
Well, there's going to be a period of time when we go back into that world again. And it's a question now of, are you going to go back into old habits and go back into the world as the person you was, or are you going to allow this lockdown to make you a better person? You know, because if you spend 8 weeks now and you then go back into the world, the person you was, then what have you been doing for the last 8 weeks? You know,
yeah,
even if it's just little things that you've learned something new about a family member or your partner or your loved one or your kids, or you've achieved a painting that you've been wanting to do for years, or you've played with your daughter, you taught you. So for me, if I take anything from this lockdown, I've taught 3 children how to ride a bike,
right.
which is stressful,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I've been there and done that. Yeah,
yeah,
big
you
big
know,
open places and
I've enjoyed every single minute of it. God's honest truth. It's been hard, and I'm sure the country will agree that it's been hard. And but I've enjoyed it. I've
yeah,
been around people that I love dearly, and I've
yeah,
had my children for 2 weeks
yeah,
out of 8 weeks, and I've been blessed with another chance of life. Because trust me, 2 years ago, I was in hospital, lucky to be alive. So I'm here today saying that treat this as an opportunity, because you never know when you're going to get another one.
yeah. No, great words, using. You've actually made me feel better, genuinely. You know, we've all had, we've all had dips and down days in this lockdown. You know, I can't go up the Abbey and let a bit of steam off and throw a few.
Yeah,
You know,
that's it. Have a beer with your friends and stuff. But you know
yeah,
what?
but yeah, I've done the same. And Chelsea, we go out on a bike ride most days, and yeah, like
Lovely, mate.
finding new little routes and areas, especially Cambridge is always a late little river or a stream or
Yeah,
bridges or whatnot to find. But yeah, like wise words, and we've got to try and just embrace it, like you say, and take it for what it is.
yeah.
Um, but thank you so much, Hughesy. We'll
No,
leave
my pleasure, mate.
And yeah, we've covered as much as we can, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And from on behalf of every Cambridge United fan, like, we wish you well. So happy that you're in a good place, and thank you for everything you did, for your ruptured ankle, for your broken wrist, and most importantly, that goal, mate.
My pleasure. No,
Thank
love
you.
you, mate. You look after yourself. Love to the family. Love to Rogan. Love to Pam. Love to all of you, mate. And like I say, when I'm back down the Abbey again, we'll have a beer.
Top man. Thank you, buddy.
Take care, mate.
Yes.